Hello again, and welcome to the next part of this working with the non-SMC Pentax Takumar 28mm 2.8. And this will be about the clean and the whole assemble of the different parts. So let's go ahead. It will be great fun. Um, it looks like a mess, you think? No, but it isn't. Since we already have disassembled all the parts, so we can just assemble them again. And I will simply begin with the focusing system and put it together. I have just cleaned it in isopropyl alcohol 99%. And then I will just put things together. So let's see how it can go. I think it will go pretty good, but let's see how. Whoop. So, and of course we need to re-lube the focusing system. Those parts here, where does the whole focusing system in this manual lens, and for that I will use the grade 10. Oh, different to see, difficult to see. I know. Oh, come on. Yeah, okay. Here we have it. It's a little container with which have grade 10 helicoid grease. Too much light here. It's from Japan Hobby Tool, and you can get them via Amazon.com, where I buy this. There's also a grade 30, but I think the grade 10, which is the fine, very thin grease, especially made for helicoids. So let's have a look at this white stuff. This is how it looks. It's simply just white. And I think I will just hold on a second. I'll just stir it a bit. So and here we are. Now, and I will use a fine makeup brush, which is really good for that kind of work. And there shouldn't be used much. The amount of grease used in that kind of lens will be very little. So just add a little all around here, and I think we'll just do it here. So this is the outer helicoid. This is the outer helicoid put into the middle. So the actual lens body. So just add a little. It shouldn't be that much. Yeah. And you see, when putting the first helicoid, the next one will just this one, when we put it in and move it around, turn it back and forth, it will be fine for this. So this here, and has to set click. And since I have my arrows here, it would be fine. So here we are. Oh, sorry. Where did it go? Here. Try again. Can we just have it in? Oh, of course it should be counterclockwise to screw it back in again. So I will just put it on clockwise and then get the click of the helicoid there. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow, it will be pretty good. So the amount of grease is not there very much, but it's more than enough. And then I can just put in the next. It will be the inner, where all the components will be put on. And again, I will just add a little. It will be spread around when moving the focusing ring. So it's a bit more than enough. Oh, I make some error. There was some grease on the aperture part. So where did my arrow went? There's one here. Yeah. And so put it in. And hopefully it will work. Sometimes the helicoid can be a little, so it says click. Then put it in, move it back and forth. And here we are. So there it is. And then we should actually have the correct parts in here. And since I have a number 1 here, I also have a number 1 here. So I can just fit in those parts that need to go in here. So the focusing system will work in proper order. Just get those away. Miss some space. Well, we will see. So I simply put in number 1 of this, and it also needs some lube, especially on the edge here, on the edge of the this guide pin, just a little, and then put in this part here. Just align the screw holes there, so it is, and then I can just put in my screws here. And so I'm in safe place, safe home, to just move the focusing ring here without any problem. As you can see here. Then I can move it, but don't move it too much. We still need to have the focusing ring on to make their actual stop on these two pinned in each end. And of course, if so, I would just add a little thread lock. In this case I will use the Loctite 243, which is good for this task, and just put it on a piece of paper so I can just add it. So that's more than enough for all those screws. Because then the screws will, some screws you do not put directly on the thread, on the screw, but only on the once you say on one end, it will say where the screw head is. So, or just a tiny amount, so that will be more than enough. Because if there is too much, it will simply end up here in the Aperture system and probably lock the Aperture ring that actually moves. Well, not actually this part here. It's this part that moves. So, but in some lenses, be aware of not adding too much thread lock. You can just put on the other screw. And then hopefully put it in. And then tighten it gently. And since I also put marks on each side of this little piece of metal, I can see it actually fits very good, because I can see the marks all around here. So that's good. And I simply do it with the next one that also needs some loop on the side. So and so. There. Then put it in. Sometimes the sample part can be a little tricky. And in this case I also need a magnetized screwdriver, which will make it a lot easier when putting in the screws. So I first screw in one screw here, and then I will put on some thread lock on the other one, and then put it in, tighten it, and then take the other screw out, because then I can easily add thread lock on the other screw. So, and this also needs some tiny drop. Oh, come on. Okay, save home. Now the focusing system works absolutely great, just like a new lens, without any resistance when moving the focusing ring here. So now I will simply just add the real focusing ring, and since I also have marks around here, especially the infinity marks here, so I can simply just add my focusing ring at infinity, which will be the mark here. And since I also have mark inside here, it will be no problem to find the correct position. Since I have marks in here, you probably can see, and it will be in line with the other marks here, so I know exactly where it should sit. This is why it is so important to make some small marks on old lenses, because there is probably no service or repair manual for those lenses. Or you could just take pictures, which I did in the beginning, until I realized, okay, it's much better to make a video out of it. And then this one goes in here. Okay, and then the next one. There were 2 screws with 2 spacers, and nothing on the 3rd screw. Don't know why. And now I can almost move the focusing ring, but it will only be very good when putting in the 3rd screw. And then oh, come on, little fellow. Oh, there. Wow. Without any resistance. I mean, almost. And then it works pretty good. So that's really fine. But, until I realized that I forgot something. I forgot this thing. So I need to take off the focusing ring again. Well, it happens now and then with working with this kind of stuff. So I simply need to take it off. Out of that. And so, and the last tiny screw. So, all for that. And I will put this on, the ring with the index mark and the Aperture's depth of field. So just need to use a cotton bud to wipe away stuff. And those small screws, I think I will use the other screwdriver. It simply works better for me. So, and you see the the outer ring here. There are two notches, one there and one there, and it can only sit in one position. So, and it will sit in the position with the two pins here, which is the end stop for oh gosh, I couldn't remember. Okay, I need to unscrew the damn it. I need to take out the, well, things happen. So I will just set it to, yeah, things happen. Of course, I need to put this ring on before putting in the helicoids. Gosh. Okay, we try again. Off with that pin. See, sometimes things just are going as you think should, but there isn't any major problem here. It could be worse. If it was a more complicated lens, but this is simple. I mean, kind of. So the number 1 was here, and there was a number 1 here. So I can simply take it out, turn this 4 turns clockwise, and it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit more off it comes. And then I can add this bloody ring. Well, thanks. Okay, see? This one can only sit there. And then I can add this ring with the screws. And sometimes I use thread lock and sometimes not. So don't use too much force on those tiny screws. They will keep the stuff together anyway. But just gently, I mean, you will have the feeling in your hand when you have worked with it. In some lenses. Now, then I can add this ring again. I can actually see my mark here when this helicoid system comes off. So I can just put it in. And then go a little back, and then you go forward until it says there's a click somewhere. There should be. There it comes. So, oh. Okay, we'll go all the way over here. So here it is. No. This pin comes in the way. So clockwise, and then there, and then it should be possible to go in there. Sometimes you have to fiddle a little with the helicoids to get it correct in place again. So 2, 3, and what's happened here? So here we are. And then I have my marks here. And so I can just put the 2 lock pins in here. I have number 1 and the other. So oh gosh, come on, little fellow. There it is. So, and here we are. Just need some screws. And then we are actually back on track. Oh gosh, full off. Okay. It's better to load the screwdriver with 1 screw before putting those parts in, because then I can actually just put the screw in. And so there and there. And here we are. Oh, difficult to move because of the slippery gloves here. And then add another screw. Then put in this part. Okay, we'll zoom in a little. And so it's fine. And if it's too tight, one can actually just adjust it after to fine-tune the if the focus ring is a bit stiff, those can just be loosened a bit and then move it and then tighten it again. So that's it. And I will just take away some of the too much grease, because if not, it will end up in here where the aperture system is. I mean, it could over time. And this is what actually happened when the lens is some years old and it has been stored in a in a wrong area. It could be hot, cold, and then and the humidity is also an issue. But then the grease from the focusing system will simply begin to move, and the only place it can move is to the aperture system here. That's why it will be sticky. Now I could actually just put on my focusing ring, which will be very good, because then I'm done with that part. My mark for the infinity is the index mark, and it's also on the helicoids. So I can simply just put this on, and it's aligned into correct position. So, and where is my marks? There. And then I can just add the tiny screws here. So, and then since it already have sit there, it shouldn't be a problem to put it correct in again. But of course one can loosen the 3 screws here if the position of the focusing ring is not correct, without disassemble the whole lens focusing system. And it can actually be done even with the camera, the lens mounted on the camera. So that's good if you can fine tune the wow, it's really good. And this is because of the grease that is used. So if you want a soft, a very easy move it focusing ring, you should use the grade 10. Now let's continue to the, there was some, I think it was something around here. No, it was just some old stuff that was sitting there. But now the focusing ring is really good. So let's continue with some aperture system and put all the blades in, which will be, well, quite easy in some way. But there was some grease on the inner aperture ring here. I need to put it in some kind of isopropyl alcohol, 99%, and simply put it in and then let it stay there for a few minutes to get rid of the grease. And clean it. So that's enough. Okay, up with that. Because if there's any grease or oil, the blades will be sticky. So now it's clean. And I would also take this part here because there was some marks here of oil, and it shouldn't be there. No way. So put it in, let it stay there. You could also, to clean this system, you could also use lighter fluid, but in my opinion it's fine with the isopropyl alcohol. There is no oil in this, I mean grease, when you're done with this, with the isopropyl alcohol. So now it looks pretty good and ready to put in. So away with that, and then time for some blades in here. And this part has to sit somewhere, and there is a mark somewhere. Where did it go? There was some. I have a mark here, and of course it should sit. Where did it go? Yeah. Okay, there. Let's see. Where did it go? I put it somewhere. And I think it's the correct position here. It was towards the pin here. Oh. No, it was actually over here. I know it was there. So you can probably see there's a mark here, and I also set a little mark there so I know where the two things should sit. And so it is, it's actually correct. This is why it is so important, because there's no one to ask where the things actually should sit. And one thing there is also important, the holes here are bigger than the screw actually, so it can be moved a little, so therefore it's important to set a mark before you disassemble those parts. But since I sent the mark, I know exactly where it should sit, no matter what. Oh. And then the last one here. And you shouldn't put thread lock on this those screws because they are very close to the blades. But of course, if you want to do it, you could add some nail polish. I mean black nail polish here on the side of the screw to lock the screw. And there's no need to over tighten the screws, just gently. So now I'm ready to put in the blades, and they can only sit in one position, So there shouldn't be any problem. And let's see, yeah, this comes, where did it go? Oh, just want to see this. Yeah. And this one goes in here, and this one will push on the pin here. So it has to sit like, oh gosh, I forgot to see there was some oil here. So I'll just give this a little cleaning, just a little. That is more than enough. I just use a napkin to clean it. So there, and get rid of all those small things from the napkin. And then I can just add this, but not yet, because all the blades need to come in. As you can see, okay, let's see here. This one has to stay there, because you can see the holes here are open, so you can see the holes. So if we move this over to here, it will be closed. So therefore it's easy to know where to begin. But putting in the blades could be a little problem, and you should use a non-magnetized tweezer. But in this case I will do it very much better and easier if you buy some of those lens sucker, which is tiny lens sucker. You can, as you can see here, there are different what do you say, size. That could be very useful to when putting in the blades. I think I will take this one, so it will be easy to show how to put them in. It's a bit out of oh, what's going on here? There's something on. Of course, this tool has to be completely oil free. I also have made me a special tweezer, which I have filed and grind, so it will be easy to grip the blade and simply put it straight in. But the lens sucker is sometimes just much better. So you can simply grab it and then put it in. There. So it should sit like that. And you see, you cannot mount the blades in a wrong way. They can only sit in one position. So add the pin over the hole and then push on side of the lens suction tool. So this is a good thing. Of course, if you do not have this kind of a tool or the other tool here, but just a normal tweezer, it's also possible to put them in. I mean, it depends on what kind of tool one have. So the hole has to be round. Okay, to put in the last blade, I actually need to move the first blade out so I can see the hole here, so it's free. And then it should be possible to put in the last blade. Maybe I have to move the first blade a little. So the next blade here will hold the first blade in place. And then I can lift this up a little. I mean, bend it and put it over here. So. And then the blades are in place, as they should be. So, and then I can simply add this pin here, this ring here. Just get rid of the part onto here, so I can put it correct in. So now it is there, and it should be possible to close the aperture, as you can see. So it actually works pretty good. And now there should be another ring. And where did it go? Somewhere here. This ring here should be put on, and it can also only sit in one position, because the small gap here and the bigger gap over here, and also the screws can only sit. Those screws all here can only sit in one position. Just zoom in a little and move parts so one can see what's happened. Now load a screwdriver. Where did it go? Here. So you're ready when putting in the ring here. So this one has to sit there. So. And it should stay somewhere. Where did it go? Or am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. Well, of course, this one has to sit the other way. Where did my mark go? I think it should sit not that way, so it must be that way. You see, sometimes it can be a little tricky to put in, but it has to sit like that. Ooh. So this is the stop pin for the aperture ring to move over here. So I can just, okay, now I see my mark. It's right there, so we're on right track. So that's your shit. So again, it's important to set the tiny mark. And there should be three screws around here somewhere. Oh yeah, I put on one on the screwdriver. So let's go ahead. So there. And the next one. And then we're almost done with this, the whole aperture system. So don't tighten them yet. We have to align to correct position. So all screws are in. And does it sit correct? Yeah, the marks are aligned correct. So gently tighten it. And again, one can add a tiny drop of nail polish, black of course. So now the aperture system is proper working, as you can see. And so it's also work on, if we look at the back side. So there. That's great. So I can add the next part, which will be the, and also the tiny spring here. And just add it now. It has to sit there. So there. Come on, little fellow. So there it should sit. And this one goes on the other side here. No, of course not. I was wrong. I should push on here. Of course it sits correct, but I need to first put in the other side here. So I will do that. So those pin here. Just take off the spring again. So this pin here, this tiny pin here, should connect to the pin here with their gap. And then I will just add a screw on my screwdriver. So I'm ready to put it in. this part here goes through the hole, I mean the gap here, and when it's on the other side it will go like this, so I can move the blades. So there, and add a screw. Oh. There. And the next one. You see, then we can move the blades. So. And since I, in the beginning, put marks around here to be sure how this part is aligned, if it sits wrong, this pin could fall out of its place here. Maybe if the lens is dropped, or just yeah. So therefore this one has to be pushed a little closer. So now things are actually almost done. And also this ring here around is used to adjust the aperture to be full open. When it's full open, you can see this, the holes are, there are no blades in the hole here. But of course I can adjust it. It was therefore I set a mark in the beginning before taking out this ring. So, and then I will put this spring on, and it sits here. So, there. And then I will make my special tool, I mean use my special tool for this task to put a spring into place. This is a dentist tool, and I have simply filed a tiny hook in one end, and hopefully it will help me to put the spring in place, because some springs can be pretty annoying to put in when they are a bit stronger than normal. But you can see it actually works pretty good instead of using a tweezer. And now we are here. So this one is actually almost there. How good is that? So I just need to put this in, and how should it sit actually? I mean, it should sit the other way, yeah. No, that's not correct. And it doesn't sit that way, so how the hell was it sitting? It should push that way, so when open the blades, oh yes, of course, the aperture ring here, this part here, will of course make it make it possible to put on. Of course this one has to come on. So this part will go in here. Oh, of course it has to sit there. Oh, oh gosh, oh there, here we are. So now it sits there and should be possible to move this, but it's actually a bit stiff in the focusing, I mean the aperture. But so it should sit. And I am missing one part. Where did it go? The aperture ring here itself with the small tiny steel ball. And yeah, we need to, where's the hole for that? Here is the hole for the steel ball. And the spring here. So I'll just put it in here and put on some grease. It will just be helicoid grease, that's fine, because it will prevent the steel ball from flying around. So where did it go? Here. So, and there it sits. Now I can add my aperture ring, and hopefully I will also have the correct position of the gap, I mean the notch here, because it has to catch the pin here. As you can see, so I'll do that, and then put the put a finger on here and let it come in here. Need to put this any further in. The spring is a little tight, I mean strong. Okay, I can see there's some missing here. Because that was unexpected. Have to put this on. And of course this ring has to come in after. Of course. It just has to sit there. And then I can put the aperture ring on. But it sits there and it has to click. So then I can add this ring here and also put this part here, move it out and put it correct into place. But then I have to move this this pin over here and open the aperture. So we need 2 fingers or more. So move this pin here over here, push it that way, and push this cam or with the pin, and then press at the same time, press the aperture, inner aperture ring down, and then it's actually working. But the what's happened here? And it works pretty good. So it is full open. Then I could actually just put my mount on, because there's no need. It's because then I can work with the lens elements. So I'll just add the mount, and of course it can only sit in one position. There are 5 screws around, which only can sit in one way. Then screw it in, because then it will be pretty easy to put in the lens element. And I will also do some light cleaning of the lens. So there, and the last screw. I will then not put in the back here, because then it will be easier for me to just put in the back lens group. And there are some small hairs now and then. So, and it's there. So here we are done with the actual lens, and I only need to put in the lens groups. But the focusing is absolutely great. Now, time to do some cleaning. So I will just need to take a break. Okay, we continue with the rest of the assembling this non-SMC Pentax Takumar 28mm 2.8, and the rest of the video will be about cleaning the lens element as much as I can. Now I have to rearrange some of my work desk here, so we will see. So I will begin with the back lens group, which is this tube that the very back lens element, the inner lens element, the very back is sitting here. So this is towards the inside of the lens, which looks like something here. Put it in here. So, but I cannot take out the lens element, and it looks like there is not really anything in here. So let's see what I can do with the other side of this lens element. But have a look how it looks, and it actually a lot of dust and dirt on it. So I'll just try to clean it. and I need a stand to put it on, so it will be more safe to work with. And those lens rubber tool here, which you can buy in many different, you can buy it as a set on Amazon or eBay, I would guess. And it's very good too when working with lenses and also take them apart. So this one will act as a stand for this lens. Or I could, of course, also use the cones and simply put it in, so it will act as a good stand for this. But still, I can use the other one as a good to rise knit, so I have better work ergonomic. Now I will use some PEC-PAD, and I cut them in smaller size because it will be more economic than the bigger size. And then as a solution, cleaning solution, I will use the Eclipse for this. Sometimes I also use lighter fluid, but it depends on what's actually on the lens element. So a few drops, and then move it around, and hopefully it will be nice and clean. Wow, it really makes a difference. So how does it look if we put a light through it? As you probably remember, there was a lot of dirt on the outside here, which will be the inside, the middle of the lens. So, but it works pretty good. And there's only dust in here. Because it's difficult to come in here and clean the lens. So, and it looks pretty good to me. So there is no need to do something. I mean, anything about it. Now, I will then add the next lens element, which is also looking pretty good. To me, I can just use a torch to see how good it is. And there is something on here, probably just dust. Oh, there's something on, but not on the other side. Yeah, it's only on this side here. So I need to put it on a stand, something, which could be this one here. Yeah, it would be fine. And then add a few drops, and so that's it. How does it look? Wow, much better. I mean, really much better. So this one will go into the lens housing here, and it's a very curved. This is actually pretty straight, this side here. So it will sit like this. The very curved in here goes in. And for that, it's easy to put on with the lens suction tool. Just press in here, put it gently on, and then put it in. And it's really a tight fit. so one can actually just press gently. Okay, there are some on my gloves, so I just need to doing so, and then just clean a little. It happened now and then when working with lenses. And now it's good again. Oh, there was something on there. Well, with a little help from a cotton bud, sometimes it's easier to apply this cleaning solution and then move it. Oh. Especially on the edge, it can be a little problem. So, and it looks pretty good. And then I will just use my lens suction tool again. Oh, more hairs. So, and it should sit there. It cannot come any further. No, so it's fine. And then I need to add my tiny plastic ring, spacer or whatever it is, and then put it on here. So, and the next lens element will come on, but I of course need to clean that too. But it's smaller, so I need a smaller stand. And this one fit very good. And how bad is it? Oh, how good is it? Okay, there is simply something on, especially on the edge. So I will just clean it on the inside first, because then it will be easier to clean the outside after that. Can I do so? Oh yeah, it's much better. And then add a little, and I think I will use my cotton bud because it's easier to move around. So there, I think it should be fine. And then the other side. Can use this. So there's still something on the edge, but it doesn't really matter because it will sit in here and it's not actually possible to see. So it doesn't really matter. But that's fine. So, and in with the lens, simply drop it into place so it sits there. Wow, that's pretty good. Now the next thing is this ring here will come in. Of course there is some bloody here. Need to blow them away. Now add this ring here. So that's it. And then the rest of the lens, of the back lens group, which will be the very back lens here. And there is, it's really dirty. So I will just take it on the inside first and then the outside. See, those rubber cones are really flexible in working with new tissue here. So they can be used for, the cones can be used for camera or repair. I mean camera repair or lens repair. It looks pretty fine. It's just on the outside there is a lot of dirt. Let's see, can it go there? Yeah. No, I think I will put it in. Just put it on here and so there, and it sits there. Now I can simply clean the very back lens surface and then put it in. So there, and then it's actually pretty good. And then the retaining ring, it sits on the very back. Put that on. It says click when the thread is put correct in, and then gently tighten it. So it's there, and then it's done. And to me it looks pretty okay. There maybe are something, but there was already something on the lens, so I will just let it as it is. Now continue to the very front group. I mean the front group. So, and let's see what we can do about it. I will use this cone, I can see. And so it looks like on the, this is the, when we looked here, it will be that, and it's put into here. This is the very back of the front lens group. So how bad is that? I guess there was something on which there is a lot. And I will just do the, let's see, I think I will take the very back and then the the other side. Now a lens tissue. And it looks pretty okay. Then flip it over and then do the other side, which is the inner side with a flat surface. So let's see how it will be. Wow, pretty much better. I mean, there's something on the edge, but that's the retaining ring, which is smaller, so it's not a problem. So I put it in as it is here. Of course, I can use the lens suction tool, which is better to control. So that's it. Then I can just put this on here, then tighten it gently. So, and now the next lens element. And how does it look? There's some dust on. So I think I will do the inside first. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to do those very deep lenses because it's not that easy to get. I mean, I use my pinky finger because it's easier to go into the deep lens, which I think works pretty good. That was one side, which is fine. Then the other side, and then it's ready to put in. Just take a new now. Oh, ready to go here. So, and then the other side. And wow, that's absolutely great. That was some yeah, that's fine. And then put this lens in to place. And again, I will use my lens suction tool. And then put it in here. It's a very tight fit. So here it is. Now that's great. And then this ring, and remember how it's faced. The very flat surface here goes into the lens here. So I can just drop it in. Of course, a tiny hair comes with. And I better put my lens on a stand. This is too big. Okay, I can put this on here and then just do the very front lens. And of course I will do the inside first, and let's see how it looks. Wow, really dirty. But I think it will be much better. So, first the inside and then the outside. And this is also a very deep lens, as you can see. So, on with some Eclipse. And I do another go. And hopefully it will be fine. Yeah, it was on the outside. So the last lens surface to be cleaned is the very front. I think it will be pretty good. So this is how it looks from very clean to very, very clean. Wow, that's great. And then I can just add this front lens. There was just a tiny hair here. Oh. So, then put it on. And it can be a little tricky to put in. It's a very tight fit. So, and then on with the front retaining ring. Click. Then tighten it. Where did it go? Here, this one. Then, so, but how does it look? I mean, it's really much better than it was. There was some hair on the front here. So that's actually that. And then I can add this. Of course, there are hairs here. So, and then put it in. So, screw it in. Oh, my battery is almost dead on my camera. Tighten it. And then add the back lens element. And of course this tiny, this very thin spacer, which I guess is the way they micro adjust the lens to have perfect focusing. So, and then put on the front ring here, and I set a mark, but it shouldn't be necessary. Because it can only sit in one position. So on with some screws here. Where did it go? There it is. Then the next screw goes in. Then the nameplate goes on. Find the thread there. And then tighten it with a rubber cone. So. Then the back, which can only sit in one way, you will say there. The tiny screws can only sit there. So there, and almost done. And then we are done with a fully working lens, and the lens element is pretty okay. So how about that? So that was all for me. This tutorial can hopefully be used to some who wants to play with simple lenses, or just as a basic learning repair. So that's all for me. Bye bye.